Welcome. In front of me is an OPPO Reno 8 Pro, and today I'll show you a couple tweaks and tricks you can do on this device. So to get started, we're gonna open up our settings, and in here we want to navigate to Wallpaper and Style. Oops, if I didn't misclick, that's where I would have clicked on. There we go, Wallpaper and Style. We're gonna select Allow. For some reason it needs access to a couple things, but anyway, once you give it that, it will present you with a quick and easy way to customize a bunch of different things about your device, which will include simple things like wallpapers, which you can also do from other locations. And then we have things like always on display, fonts. Now, in the fonts, you probably won't see too many of them right here, but if you download more, they will show up right here and you can then choose from them. As well as icons. And again, if you download more icon packs, they should appear here, allowing you to choose from them. And then we have even more customization below, like colors, quick settings, fingerprint animations, and edge lighting. Now, edge lighting doesn't really make much sense right here, as this is just a flat display. Now, the way edge lighting was initially presented is by keeping your phone screen down, and the curved edges would kind of light up the table. So this is just more traditional kind of sense of edge lighting, edge of the screen lighting. See if we can have any kind of animations. Oh, there we go. So it looks pretty slick. It's something that I would personally be using, as it does give you a information of notifications, for instance, with this subtle effect. Now, anyway, moving back, we can now move over to home screen and a lock screen, and in here we have things like the home screen modes and also a layout. Now, under the mode, you have two options. You have the standard and a drawer mode. It's completely up to you which one you prefer. I do like the drawer mode more. And I also don't like the fact that every company calls this a standard mode. It's a freaking Android. Drawer is the standard mode for Android. The only place where non-drawer mode is standard is for every Apple person. So yeah. Anyway, going back here, we also have another thing. So icon pull down gesture. This is what would be the one-handed mode. It's kind of wonky, and contrary to what the name states, icon pull down, you're actually pulling up. The more you know. So yeah, you can enable that. Like I said, it's a wonky one-handed mode, and just to kind of demonstrate this, I am gonna turn it on and just try to showcase this. There we go. So this time around it worked pretty easily. Yeah, man. And as you can see, the three subsequent options just did everything but the thing that I wanted to do. So that's why I said it's fairly wonky. Now going back here, we should also have, there we go, swipe down on home screen. By default, this will just bring up shelf. There is a better option here. Objectively, I am correct right here. And that would be the notification drawer. So now when you swipe down, instead of having some kind of shelf, you get your notification shade. Objectively a significantly better choice right here. And you can fight me on that one. Anyway, going back to the settings, we can now move over to the display and brightness, and in here we have a couple more traditional things like light and dark mode, which I believe you even have those throughout the setup process, but what you don't have is the scheduled light and dark mode. Now under schedule, once you enable it, it actually gives you more options like sunset to sunrise or on a custom timer, so you can choose exactly what time it will switch between these two modes, giving you the most accurate kind of customization for it, depending on what you want. Now, scrolling a little bit further down, we have some battery consumption options, which consumes more of your battery. So we have things like image sharpener. This just tries to, could be basically described as upscaling your image. At least that's how it looks like on this comparison. But like I said, it does use your processor, so it will consume more of your phone's battery when utilizing it. And then below that we have video color boost. Again, it just tries to enhance the image by doing some kind of color modifications like saturations, exposures, and so on to make the image look more appealing. Again, consumes more of your phone's battery to try to give you a better experience. And then we have also bright HDR video mode. So increases the brightness when playing HDR videos. This will consume more of your phone's battery. Again, this one not because of the processor, this one does it more because more brightness. More brightness equals more battery used. So yeah. And I don't think there's kind of like any image to kind of showcase the side-by-side comparison, so that is something that you might want to check out yourself. And I don't have any kind of HDR content on this phone right now to even attempt to showcase this. Now, further down, we have screen refresh rate. And here we have two modes. We have the high and standard. Right now it's set to standard for some reason, so maximum refresh rate is 60 Hz. Not the best option. This phone is literally sliding on a flat table. It's fantastic. So I'm just gonna keep it from doing so. Anyway. So we have high and standard. 60 will be the standard. This is the choppy kind of experience which I've been using for the entire time, but we do have the high mode, which maximizes refresh rate at 120 Hz, giving you these buttery smooth animations. And here OPPO does a pretty decent job in kind of giving you a representation on how this will affect it. So here we have the high and obviously the standard as they labeled, though I do want to clarify the difference right here of the choppiness that you can see is greatly exaggerated. This is not as big of a difference. Technically it will look like this, just much smoother. This kind of almost resembles a slideshow at this point. This is like, what's it, 10 frames maybe? So about 1/6 of what you actually get on a standard mode. So like I said, greatly exaggerated, but still a great improvement over the default mode, the standard one, which I unfortunately won't be able to showcase this on the video, as the video is being recorded at only 60. So anything that the phone is displaying above 60 obviously just gets kind of lost. There is one thing that you might see as a difference for the keen eye. When I'm scrolling up and down vigorously, I shall add, you can kind of see it's being choppy. You probably should be seeing this the same way as it's appearing right now on the camera. But when I go into the screen refresh rate, change it to high, and start doing the same thing, this should start looking like a bit of a more blurry kind of movement. This is indication that there is much more content being displayed, but the camera is just not picking it up. It's just kind of getting lost. So yeah, and just kind of scrolling here. I think even on a camera you can kind of see the difference right here. It's less choppy. Before you could see like each individual frame or almost particular images. Here it's not really the case anymore. And even on a 60 frames per second you can still kind of see that. But like I said, this is one thing that you can check out on your own device, and it should be fairly visible. Once you start moving up and down vigorously, you will see this, or should see this right away. Now, that being said, if you don't really see much of a difference between these two modes, I would probably recommend sticking with the standard, as this will give you better battery life. But if you do see a difference, you probably will want to stay with the smoother option. Now, moving on to the last thing that I wanted to showcase here, or actually two things, or three if there's actually one more, but I will need to check. So we do have this little sidebar right here, which is barely visible. You can swipe up on it, and it does give you this guide. Let's just get rid of it. And here we have a bunch of applications that we can access. We can add more. We have also shortcuts right here, and the neat thing about this is it will open up these applications in a pop-up view. So you can move this around, move it to the corner, and it will change into this window. Sorry, something is stuck in my throat. So let's get rid of this. Wait, seriously, you have to press explore. I guess I did. So there we go. We have the window. We can shrink it if we want to, make it bigger. And like I showed, we can also move it to the side. We can maximize it and close it. And another neat thing is if you do this, then you can also grab it. There we go. And you can open it up in split screen. So I just dragged it out, dropped it, and as you can see, it opened up at the top. And from here, I can open up, for instance, another application. And now it's split screening these two apps. Then I can, again, pull out the panel right here and open up something like, for instance, files. And this will open up on top of these two applications, which I can still use, as you can see. So all of these applications are available to me at the same time. There we go. Let's close this. I'm gonna go back to the settings while I'm fighting the urge to cough. And here, under, I presume, additional settings, we have system navigation. So here we have the two different navigation methods, the button and gestures. I've been using gestures for this entire video. And we have actually a nice option for the gestures. Gestures will be the one that have more options in general, as buttons are just 3 different buttons that you will probably only have the option to flip them. Yep. So the only option here is to flip the back with recent. Now under the gestures, we do have things like hide the gesture bar right here, this one. So this just gives you a cleaner look to your device while still retaining the same exact functionality. We also have the, where is it? I know it's somewhere here. Mistouch prevention. Wow. Okay, so we don't have the option to turn off Google Assistant, which you swipe from a corner to bring up. That's usually where you'd have the option, but I guess Google is like, no, you're not allowed to turn it off. Or it might be just hidden somewhere else. So anyway, other thing right here, neat option here is the switch to previous applications. So swipe inwards from the left or right side of the screen. So I believe this is kind of like this. Yep. So you can swap between these applications. It works very similarly to iPhones. And that being said, it's still a pretty decent option. So I do like to use it. And lastly, in here we have the left and right side of the back gesture sensitivity setting. And this just allows you to increase or decrease the sensitivity, as you can see. And that being said, I did see for a moment, I think that's what it refers to, this setting. So if you swipe back, hold it, it actually goes back. So this is, let me just test it. Yeah, so this is just completely separated. So you don't need to toggle anything to actually utilize this. The toggle there was for, for this. Now it's not bringing this up anymore. Now, last thing that I wanted to see if we actually have access to would be the options for notifications and status bar right here. And it looks like we do. So we have status bar right here. And in here, you'll find a bunch of different toggles. These are all the ones that show up right here. And for the most part, at least personally for me, they do tend to clutter my status bar. I don't care to see do not disturb mode being enabled. I don't care to see NFC being enabled, nor do I care about Bluetooth, as these are, or at least Bluetooth and NFC are ones that I have permanently enabled. Therefore, I don't need to know that they're enabled. I know there is no other option that they are on my device. So that's kind of, I would like to get rid of those. And here we have the option. And we can also get rid of additional options in here as well. So we can go over this. Next, we have a couple options for the battery and icon styles. So by default, every device will show you 3 notifications right here, and then everything else is behind like a 3 dots. And to see all the notifications, you just swipe down to see them, right? We actually have other options here, like show a number. So it will show you exact number of notifications you have, or you can just hide it altogether. I personally like the number, as this gives you insight on how many notifications you have without actually cluttering your status bar. And another thing in here is the battery style along with the battery percentage. Now, depending on which battery style you choose, you might have different battery percentage options. The horizontal battery has the option to have the percentage inside. That is how I like to keep it, but for the purpose I will change it to something else like the vertical one, and as you can see, automatically the percentage is already outside and I can just toggle it off if I don't want to see it. But with the horizontal one, I can have it either inside, on the side, or just not showing at all. So anyway, this would conclude the tweaks and the tricks that I want to show you. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.